Master 03, and they'll be building lots of them. There's 01, there's 03, and so we'll have a bunch of these master controls floating around. We'll have to go back and name them properly. Same with all of these. We'll have to go back and name them so they're not arrow, CNTO 2, 3, 4, as well as all the bones and everything. I tend to do all this sort of things last with scripts again to get it done quickly, and I didn't want to go through showing you renaming things, because obviously that's pretty basic and not an intermediate level chore to do. Sometimes in production I hand this off to newbies in the production, students that are doing their placements, so they can get used to working with stuff like this, and they just go around and rename things and check that kind of stuff so they get used to the working methods. I'll pass it off to junior riggers that are trying to get better at it and learn it and get used to the fact that everything's got to be named. That's why I don't have to do it anymore. So that works really nice. I'm going to go around and set all those controls up, and so we've got one on each one, and then we'll take a look at how well our face is actually deforming and how flexible it is and what kind of shapes and forms that we can get out of it. So here is the final setup for the rig, the way it's currently been set up by us. So I've got the finite controls that are set up in a lot of the different locations. A few of them I've not bothered. I didn't bother with the one underneath the cheek here, the underneath the eye, sorry. I could have added one there. I didn't add one underneath the chin here because I didn't have a point helper there yet, but again, I could have easily added it there. Wouldn't, you know, you go back and check. But now you've actually got these level of finite control, and the difference being with something like doing this control and doing the finite control is obvious. You're only moving that center portion of the lips, or you're actually moving the corner of the mouth now, just the corner. And so the top controls can be used to get the initial pose and get close to what you want, and then the other controls can be used for the interim poses. Here's just a quick breakdown of the animation I use for when I was skinning, just going through some big ranges of poses to see what I would get, trying to take the face through some major poses. And of course now what we can do is we can go through and we can try and refine some of the poses to decide what we might want using this secondary set of controls. We can tweak the mouth areas in different little sort of situations in different spots where we might have wanted something very specific. I even added them to the eyebrows, so you could go in and actually easily animate the eyebrows this way without using this one, just grabbing them both and moving them straight up and down. So I'm not even sure that this control would be the use for the animators, because it might be a little too foreign for them to want to work with, having this sort of system set up. It's one of those things. It's cool, but will they use it, or would they just go with these controls as they know they'll get exactly what they want, how they want it, without sort of wondering how this sort of reacts to the eyebrow. So sometimes, you know, the cool stuff isn't really what you want. You know, we could easily puff cheeks over here now, and just in an individual spot, so the character had something in their mouth, gumball in his mouth. We can actually handle very simple little situations and areas. Again, we could also tweak the shape of the mouth here and make it a lot more sort of aggravated by forcing it up into on the secondary level. You could even force it down and out, round out the mouth some. And so again, the animators can really get a feel for what works for them by using all the different controls. Now what I'm going to do too to finish this off, one of the hassles with this sort of system is that of course you've got a lot of controls, a lot of tracks to deal with, and trying to get back to poses becomes a hassle. So again, I'm going to take all of the controls that exist, probably on two different layers, the top layer and then the finite layer, and I want to put them into and connect them up to the pen attribute holder so that I can store poses on the face at any point in time. So you can easily go through, build a pose library, and be able to save it out to file, load it onto other files, things of that nature. So you can reuse the poses for the character really easily, and that would certainly speed up workflow a lot with this sort of rig, and not have to worry about you know, how to get back to a simple pose that you reuse all the time, maybe a phoneme or something that you're using constantly. You know, you don't have to worry about sort of how do we get back to that pose. It's there, it's saved. You can just simply grab it and reuse it however you want. So you can see with those finite controls, you can really force the face into some very specific poses. The other nice thing about the way this is set up as well with these controls is you'll actually notice that the finite control controls the top level control and vice versa. They actually control each other. Again, that sort of loop dependency thing's going on. Now it actually isn't set up on this one, so I'm probably going to set up the same sort of loop dependency going on this control as well, because right now it's not doing that. You can pull the finite control away from it, and it starts feeling a bit odd because then this isn't in the same place again. So I think I'll go and just set that up, and that'll be the final tweak on this this character's face. It really has some really great looking expressions that we can pull off with it now quite easily, quite quickly, and it's all reacts very quickly. The only reason it might appear slow on the captures is just because the capture's moving, but when I'm just working on the head, it's extremely fast. And what's nice is it's entirely set up so that we could repurpose it into a new character relatively easily just by grabbing all of the point helpers that are parented directly into the system here and just rejig them, remove them around, and reparent them into a new rig. So you could reuse this whole facial setup quite quickly for setup, probably faster than you could making all the targets for other faces, I would think, and resetting up another face with morph targets.